decided to move all my lights and accessories off my starter battery and moved them to my house battery. I decided to go with Auxbeam, the 12 gang. I already have the 8 gang in the front of the truck. I'm still going to use that for stuff like the air compressor and the front and rear locker and the transmission fan. Everything else will be going off of this switch panel here. One of the reasons why I went with this one is because it has an app control and then it also has a remote to it too. I was planning on replacing the whole unit, but you'll see why I chose to move it to the house battery during this unboxing. All right, what's in the box? Of course, you have your regular stickers. You have your regular remote here. It's kind of big. I got pretty big hands, so still in the palm of my hand, it's still kind of big. This is going to be up front controlling the lights. Of course, this comes with a breaker too. The good thing is this is 100 amps instead of like a 60 or something like that. Easy to reset. This is where all the magic is going to be happening at. You have entrance for the wires up on the back. Then open it up front. "12 slots. This is a big panel. Of course, all your fuses there. Removable fuses. I have tons of these things. So it's easy to replace when one is blown. How you can tell it's blown is it has the lights right there that'll light up red whenever a fuse is blown. Extra fuses with a removal tool. Positive wires, negative wires. This is one of the reasons why I'm not mounting it in the cab. This switch is humongous. I'm going to be mounting this one in the Vagabond somewhere, but once again, comparing it to my hand, that thing is giant. So that'll be moving into the rear. The cable to connect it all. Of course, you have the mounting plate for the connector. And then this is the antenna that comes with it. This antenna allows this remote to work. So we'll see how that correlates with it, see how big the delay is between sending and receiving signals, and then if it correlates with the app. I'm not going to be connecting the fuse to a starter fuse. It'll always be on, but that's because I'm connected to my house battery once again. Your regular tools to hook up everything. And below the plate here, as the sticker says, have mounting brackets. So the idea that I want to use for this is I'm going to mount it in the back of the truck in the current setup. I'm going to mount this upside down, so the access to the hose are through here. Then I'm going to mount it as such, upside down, against the fender well in the back of the Tacoma. And then also along the back, since the positive and negatives are on this side, I'm going to cut this piece and then mount the breaker somehow on this end. Maybe something like that, besides a little shorter. I think that'll be good. I'm going to get to fabbing this up, and I'll keep you posted on the process. So we're in the back of my Tacoma. This is a Vagabond Drifter. Back behind here is where I installed the Auxbeam. We're at a slight angle here. The truck is pointing downhill, but I wanted to point out some of the components again and how I set them up. In front of you here is the actual Auxbeam 12 gang itself. Of course, you have your power cable going to the 100 amp breaker. That breaker then goes to my power source. The same thing with the ground, goes to the power source. The power source will be connected through a 50 watt Anderson connector. Correction, 50 amp Anderson connector. And that connects to the battery source. You have your panel for the control module. You have the actual power for that control module. Since I'm not plugging it into my starter battery, I put it up here so it'll always be on with the power coming in from the power source. And then last but not least, you have the antenna for the remote control. I'm thinking about mounting that right back up there, so it's kind of tucked in out of the way, but it'll still be able to receive good signal from inside the camper. This wire up over here, this wire connects the Red Arc BC-DC 40 to charge up my battery pack back here. This is connected to my starter battery and to the alternator, so that keeps that there charged. All right, gotta start hooking up some stuff and see how it turns out. We're doing some wiring inside the Tacoma, putting everything back to the house battery. Hopefully this cable here is long enough, and we shall see how it turns out. So it's been a couple days since I started the install of the Auxbeam 12 gauge system. Finally hooked up everything to my auxiliary battery in the back here. All my auxiliary lights are connected to this device, as well as the 12 volt plug on the sour side of the truck. The antenna for the wireless remote is right there. You can also see the 12 volt plug there on the bottom right. So I ended up plugging the actual system, the Auxbeam system there, into an Anderson plug on my auxiliary battery. And then that plug has a 80 amp fuse that goes to the 100 amp fuse that came with the device. I can access that through this little trap door I made. All of the wires are being ran in through the back over here. I drilled a hole in the back of the bed truck next to the other hole where the BC-DC charger is pulling from the alternator and battery. This is the remote that goes with the device. As you can see, it's pretty responsive. And of course, the app does the same thing using Bluetooth. That is also really responsive with the main board back here too. So right now, I don't have any groups set up. Everything is just operating individually and on its own. It's kind of how I like that, to have control over devices that I need during that time. But all right, let's go outside and see how the lights look. So I never really went over the type of lights I have on my setup. So while I'm doing a night video, this is the type of lights that I have. For the front bumper, I have Cali raised LED light bar, 20 inch, inside the Victory 4x4 bumper. Next is the amber fog lights, also by Cali raised. And then the ditch lights. With the side light there. Regular light. Sorry for blowing you out. Also by Cali raised. And then the rear chase lights, camping lights, amber. Also by Cali raised. And recently, in the past couple days, I installed new rock lights. They are the KC Cyclone 2s. And this is all hooked up to the Auxbeam and my dual battery setup. I am not sponsored by Cali raised. I just really like their lights. I think they're at a fair price and it's a good product. All those lights on the vehicle have at least been on there for 2 years. With all the lights off, the auxiliary battery is only pulling 5 watts. Those 5 watts are from the Dometic CFX3 45 liter. And then it's also powering the display to the Auxbeam 12 gang. We're going to turn on all the lights and see how many watts the whole system is pulling. Just some quick facts on the battery system in the back of the Tacoma. There's 2 100 amp hour Battleborn batteries. And those are, of course, lithium batteries. We seem to be pulling about 216 watts. The time remaining is still going down. I just want to see how long that I can keep these lights on before it will drain all 200 amp hours. Okay, the light's been on for a while, and it looks like I could run all of my lights plus my 45 liter refrigerator in the back for a little over 11 hours with 97% charge on the system. That's not bad at all. Most people are running, if they're running a dual battery, they're running a 100 amp hours. So still having 5 hours and 30 minutes of pure light is more than enough. It is somewhat overkill, but I'm happy about it. I'm glad it turned out so well. I'll keep you updated on how the Auxbeam system is doing, and if I need to fix anything, or if I'm having any problems with the system, with the app, or even with the remote. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, guys. Until next time.